down. This is carpeted with dead and wounded here as the Confederates fall back. Now it's dark. The 72nd Illinois Regimental colors, they make it a counterattack and are annihilated. It's almost dark. And those colors are captured, they fall back. Confederates again attack as the sun is going down. There's rebel colonels on the trenches, profanely ordering surrender their flag. Aldridge already had his rifle loaded. It's 111th Ohio. I guess not. Pow! You could see the sun going down to that hole in that colonel's body as he tumbles over there. They're parrying with their bayonets. They're throwing them like spears at each other. One went through Wadsworth's leg, 111th Ohio. It's just now it's dark. Captain Sexton is 20 years old. He's commanding 1,500 men here, or close to it. Why? Pryor killed, Stockton killed, the major killed. And let's walk over to this area where this garden starts to taper. Hey, don't Petey, that's okay. Hell, we put it in the magazine. And it's bad horrible grammar, and looks like some half idiot writing it. And that was just a private letter, and he printed it. And $72,000 was released from America. This were trailers, and I'm not diminishing. A lot of great people live in trailers, but it was, let's put it this way. Possums living in those trailers, and there were skunks leaving those trailers, and there were a lot of crazy things in those trailers. And but they saved this because everybody in America and others too, and round tables, Louisville round table helped individuals. I think the group itself did too. I can't remember now. But look how this tapers or goes inward. See how this gets smaller and smaller? Look at the gravel. That's where the line is cutting out right here. The inner line is what we walked through. What is that, 25 yards? It's 60 yards over there. Now here's the Confederates, here's the Federals. Colonel FSS Stafford leads another attack through the garden. And he's killed, he's found standing up dead out here the next morning. Now they retreat again. It's dark. General Jacob D. Cox tells Captain Sexton that you must capture this main line. Sexton says, hell, it can't. He said, you must capture this line. And he started to curse and he just kept quiet. And it's dark now, about 5:30. And they leap over the trenches. They get halfway out of here. They're taking it from the back. They're taking it from the front. They're taking it from the angle. They're taking it from everywhere, including their own friends, and are annihilated. They fall back. The Confederates attack again and are annihilated. Cox comes up to Sexton later and says, you must capture this main line. Sexton says, hell fire, it can't be done. We're taking as much from the back as the front. We will send what I call the luckless 112th Illinois that had no casualties over there to the east, over here to you, and we will tell everyone not to fire. Yeah, right. Sexton said he didn't believe a damn word of it, but they obeyed orders. It's twice as bad as it was the first time. 112th Illinois in 3 minutes had 17 killed, 79 wounded, had 0 over there. They were madder and hell for the rest of their lives about it. It's useless, needless. 111th Ohio had 15 killed, 59 wounded. 44th Missouri had 32 killed, 79 wounded, 84 captured. 150th Ohio, I'm getting ahead of myself, 72nd Illinois had 300 killed and wounded here. 183rd Ohio had 150 killed and wounded and some captured here. And finally, it's smoking cauldron about 6:30. Cheatham's Corps needs assistance. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Ed Johnson's Old Clubs Division is on the field of S.D. Lee's Corps. Brantley and Sharp's Mississippi Brigades, Dees, Alabama, some pronounce it Days, and Manigault, South Carolina, Alabama Brigade. We're pushing 7 o'clock now. S.D. Lee says, where do we go in to General Cheatham? Down yonder. I need a guide. We don't have any guide. They're all shot down there in the battle. He fashioned torches on both columns of the lines. He told them, you don't shoot, you don't cheer until you get within 30 yards of that trench line. That's the other side of that field. And S.D. Lee said he thought they'd open up the doors of hell itself as they punch a hole through that right there. Fighting hand to hand, they seal it. The 183rd Ohio. Colonel Mervyn Clark, 21 years old. I think of that as just almost, a young man at best. He gets on top of the trenches waving the flag, and he's shot right between the eyes. And they seal it now. They're given and taken, throwing Johnson's division. captures the 107th Illinois colors, I think the 118th, 129th, but they're sticking to them, boys, throwing their bayonets at each other. It's just horror up until about 9 o'clock at night. Then it starts dying down about 9 o'clock, although heavy skirmishing after that. Heavy skirmishing. And slowly the Federals start to withdraw from your east to your west, finally in the middle. And about from 11:30 to 1:30, they're withdrawing. By 1:30, they're gone. They're gone. Confederates hold the field. Yeah, so, you know, technically you leave the field, leaving your dead and wounded, you lose the battle. Okay, you hold the field, you officially won the battle. But how can you call this a win? So maybe they won the battle, lost the whole campaign. I can't call it winning. With 2,000 Southerners killed, 5,000 wounded, and 300 captured in about 5 hours. And General Cheatham said the next morning, he said the dead were stacked like wheat, scattered like sheaves of grain. He said you couldn't walk on this field without walking on a dead man. I never saw a field like this before, and I pray to God in heaven I never view anything like this as long as as long as I live. Let's count this 3 square acres with 111th Ohio. Minimum, you have at least 1,200 men killed and wounded right here. I think it's much more than that, closer to 1,500, 1,600, but be as low as I can. 1,200 killed and wounded right here. How can anybody describe that in 3 square acres? It's impossible. It's impossible. And there's a man named John Wonderlick. How could I make up that name? Poor thing. He's laying out here 183rd Ohio all night long. He living, breathing. His comrade tries to find him next morning. He was captured. And he finds him. Both eyeballs hanging out by the tendons on the cheeks. He's still breathing. And he expired shortly thereafter. Adam Snyder was captured here, 183rd Ohio. Went to prison. He was on that infamous boat, Sultana. Y'all heard of that? Oh, yeah. For those that haven't, war's over with, taking them home. Crooked federal officials. Can you believe they had them back then? We don't have them today, certainly. You're getting $5 a head for every man on that boat. Should have had 247. They had about 2,400 on that ship. Blew up 7 miles above Memphis, April 26th. And only about, hold on, out of the 2,400, about 257 survived. And Adam Snyder, 42-year-old Prussian immigrant, was one of them that did not live, never found again. So 1,200 captured, 600 of the Franklin captured was on that ship. I think only about 50 made it off. So does the tragedy ever end? No, it never ends. We'll have questions, but a little bit, Maurice, but let's backtrack this way and let's walk this way. Porch area alone, just in that porch area dead. 44 dead and wounded Federal soldiers on that back porch dead. The 16th Alabama color bearer is laying right by that corner of that house there, dead. Claiborne's division, yeah, you know where Claiborne, yeah. I'm sorry, I lose my train of thought. I can almost see this. They said blood was ankle deep around that well. Lieutenant Colonel Porter Olson, who said, "Take them, boys," was shot in the chest right at that corner of the house. And they rip a shutter off the house, take him down the street. His last words on that shutter was, "Oh Lord, please help me," and died on the shutter. And Captain Todd Carter, I told you about him yesterday. You went to his grave. I take very few people to his grave, but he's laying out there all night long. It goes down below 32 degrees. That saved men's lives, slowed the bleeding. Others were having frozen into the ground, had to pry him off the ground. And they bring him into the home. I've already told you the story, how he regains consciousness, and he dies in the home of his birth. And now we have in 5 horrible hours, we have 2,000 Southerners killed, 5,000 wounded, 300 captured in 5 hours. But more than that, 4,300 casualties in this 400 yards to the east, probably 3,700 casualties in 400 yards to the west. That's close to 8,800 yards, close to it. Then on the flanks would be more. The other 1,000 or so. There are 1,300 captured, or 1,200 for the Confederates.
Trying to get Charlie.
What's that?
No, he's just trying to get his uncle.
Okay, that scared me. thought it was the ghost. But it's just, and there not 6 generals killed or mortally wounded, 8 others wounded, 1 captured Confederate. That's 15 generals lost in 5 hours. And what I recited for you at the cemetery, about Franklin, I think yesterday. Good God. Now do you maybe got a clue why it wasn't preserved? Now they did come in 1910 to 1920. Colonel Sherwood, Isaac Sherwood, 111th Ohio, and Gordon are great friends. Gordon, congressman, Sherwood, senator. Brought it 35 times to get this apart here. Did not deem it necessary to appropriate $100,000 for 2 miles of field. And then the old veterans are dying off. Late 30s, the Park Service did come here, but all those homes were built over there by that gym that you saw over there. And then the old veterans dying. And then, yeah, there was a battle up here. Yeah, there's some bullets up here, bullet holes. But the soldiers remembered it. And the Gettysburg Expo, I think in Philadelphia, I believe it was, in the 1880s. You may know more now, but that diorama thing, you know, they're showing everything. This veteran of Franklin, Federal, comes up to these group of men, and this one man's talking real loud. He comes up close, he says, "Gettysburg, you should have been there at Franklin. The cowardly rebels attacked us, and we drove them back. The cowardly thieving cur rebels attacked us again, and we drove them back. The cowards attacked us 13 times, and we drove them back." And this Federal soldier that was at Franklin was hearing this. He said, hold on. You're all veterans, aren't you? Yeah. Do you know of any cowards that have attacked 13 times? No. Now at this point, with a left hook that would make Joe Frazier smile, wham! Knocks him down. This Irish policeman comes up. He goes, boys, break it up. He leans over to him. The man, he said, "I've been hearing what he's been saying. If you don't get him again, I'm going to run you in." And he lifted the man up, and then wham! Hits him again. Then the last line I have to paraphrase, but the coward's the one that talks so much. But it's the brave men that died on the field of battle and honor that are not cowards, and they were brave soldiers on the Confederate side, and they're not cowards. And I'll get goosebumps every time I tell that story. I get goosebumps as well. Lotes House Hospital, they said you could smell the blood, you could smell the body parts. Who's from Indianapolis? My Joe and John. Where's Joe and John? Yeah, there they are. 1983, this road was widened. In 89, I came, and there's some things found when they widened the road, bullets and whatever and bones. And there's pathologists from Indianapolis came here. And we asked me to look at some of this stuff. And I thought this was human, but he pulled it out. He said, no, this is hog, blah, 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 the whatever. Okay, the second one I didn't think much about. A little palate with 3 teeth in it. He goes, see, this is human. Look at the black on the inside of those teeth. That's tobacco stains. He smoked a pipe or chewed tobacco. This has been violently knocked out. He probably died. That was found right in front of that house, right where they widened the road. Bones come up around here all the time. I said 20 years ago that there were bodies out there, and I was mocked by people in this town. I know who they are, so on. And they don't mock me anymore. They don't want to know they're living on a cemetery. That's what they don't want to know. They don't want to realize that. Whether you are, live there, whatever, but it's a cemetery. And I know where the amputation pits are. More than that one I told you about. And it is what it is. And the bloodiest hours of the war, a nighttime battle, the general's battle, twice Pickett's charge. And why was it not remembered, except for people like you, but the general public hardly heard about it. But now it's changing for cause of people like you, the roundtables and historians and whatever, finally getting this due after so long. Got a long way to go, but dear God, I'm not worthy to speak for them, but surely they deserve to be. They've earned the right to be remembered. They don't deserve it, they earn the right to be remembered, dear God. And a lot of great historians in the past, but they die off, and now people like you carrying it on. Any questions? Yeah.
You know, it's to me ironic that Hood was willing to fight at night, but yet instead of, you know, trying to watch and detect if Schofield's withdrawing and taking advantage of it, he never did.
Somebody told Colonel Blackjack Casement, let's whip the hell out of him. He said, there's no hell left to whip over there by the cotton gin. No, there's no hell left to whip. They want someone at Schofield to do a counterattack at night. Schofield said, look, let me get out of here. I've saved my army. My white flanks are open. Let's just take what you got. I won. Let's go on. And
My question was about Hood not trying to use Lee when he finally got up.